On this channel, I've been playing through every single PETA game, and today I'm going to complete the list of playing every single PETA game that's still available. With the one exception being this racist choose your own adventure game. That game isn't available to be played anymore, but I did find footage of the entire game so we can react to it just the same. In my next PETA video, I will be looking at the final PETA games that have been lost to time. Therefore, I will have reviewed every single PETA game that has ever been made. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. But for now, let's get on with these terrible games. Revenge of the PETA Tomatoes. The instructions explain that you need to throw a tomato on all of the fur wearers by clicking on them. Get 9 points and you move on. But if you hit a kid or animals, you lose points. You click play and then you have the luxury of choosing your tomato torpedo. With characters this good and creative, I'm not sure how I'm gonna choose. Naturally, I went with beefsteak. The game then starts and what the hell? This picture never fails to make me laugh. Why does this kid look so freaking weird? I'm pretty sure the top of his head has been relaced and maybe something else is going on too, I can't tell. I'm sorry if I accidentally roasted a kid who actually looks like this. Okay, so I just explained the game to you and you're seeing it. All of these photoshopped people look at least slightly off, and I have no idea what's going on with this city background. I did get 9 points and moved on to level 2. In between levels you get to select a new character, so I chose Apple. Is there a joke here that I'm missing? As far as I can tell, level 2 is the exact same thing. I easily beat it. I then got to choose a new character, and I knew I needed to finish this off with Rambo Red. Again, I think this last level is the exact same. I never noticed any difficulty spikes or anything like that. There was some questionable hitboxes, but it never worked against me, so I didn't care. And when you beat the game, it says congratulations. Play again? No. Alright, now it's time for lobster liberation. Okay, so you reach the targets. Don't touch the poisonous lobster bushes, polluted water, the gag car, or snakes. I understand the hazards that lobsters must face. Teach me more. I'm sorry, that's just how I read the message since it's in all caps. You have 3 lives in the game. Enough already, I must help the lobsters. It's Frogger. The lobster. I mean, the game is just as fun as Frogger is. The only real negative thing I have to say against the game is it casually put me in a situation where I had to die very early on. So that was annoying, but other than that, I guess I have no complaints. When I got all the targets, I was excited to be done with the game, but then I saw there was a level 2. The only addition that it adds is that logs will begin to sink if you stay on them for too long, which really just calls for some immediate unwinnable situations. So needless to say, once I lost all 3 of my lives on level 2, I stopped playing. I don't like not completing these games for you, but Lobster Liberation just takes so long and it's not necessarily the most forgiving game. By the way, every time you lose a life, you have to wait for these paramedics to take their time slowly rowing to you. I guess they really don't care about that lobster's life after all. I'm honestly just assuming that this game is endless, but it might not be. I looked and I couldn't find anything about an ending online, but to be fair, I didn't find much about this game online to begin with. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not a Frogger connoisseur, so if there's anything that I complained about that also lines up with Frogger, consider this an attack on Frogger as well. The next game is Fast Food Nation. Do you want lies with that? I do. This game is a parody of Burger Time. I love Burger Time. It's such an underrated retro game. I think the best way to give you a review on this PETA game is to quickly explain Burger Time to you. Made in 1982, you play as the chef. The goal is to walk over each piece of the burger until a burger is made at the bottom. Once you make all the burgers, you move on to the next level. You have these dastardly ingredients following you, trying to stop you for whatever reason. You're always a little faster than them, so you just want to avoid getting cornered. The more you play, the more you learn how their AI operates. At a certain point, you can start strategically moving around to manipulate their movements. It is so rewarding to be practically cornered, but then you move in such a way that you now have everyone grouped in a corner behind you, and now the rest of the map just opens wide up. You can also attack with pepper, which stuns enemies in a small area. You do only have a limited amount of pepper, so you have to be careful. Okay, now let's compare that to Fast Food Nation. All of the basics are the same, but somehow the game in 1982 is superior in every single way. The AI feels downright random, and it's always faster than you. There's no outsmarting, there's constant panic and situations that you just can't do anything about. unless the game decides to arbitrarily spare you. The enemies always hit me like a second before I expect them to, which makes me often waste my pepper, or in this case, my spatulas. I did find that there's a glitch where if you die and use your spatula at the same time, all the enemies are just frozen for the level, which is pretty cool. In both games, you can kill enemies with the following ingredients. In Burger Time, it's a tool you really need to use strategically to get out of many situations. In Fast Food Nation, it's a toss-up between that and a death sentence. When you kill an enemy in Fast Food Nation, they immediately respawn, and each enemy always respawns in the same corner. So if you kill an enemy on purpose or not when you're near a corner, there's a 1 in 4 chance it'll instantly kill you. Burger Time was made in a time where graphics were extremely limited, but look how much better this game looks. Take this hot dog's walking animation for example. He is moving and grooving with a passion. And then you compare it to this pig and it's just kind of sad. You know what PETA game is really bad when I've been talking about it for so long, but I haven't yet mentioned the fact that it tracks how many E. coli outbreaks were caused by your burgers, how many animals have been killed for your burgers, and how many deaths by heart disease that you've caused. You get this screen after the first level, this one after the second level, and this one after the third level. After level 4, it repeats. I died at level 5 twice in a row, so we'll never know what happens after that. I'm sure we're really missing out. Burger Time is an endless game, and I'm just assuming the same for Fast Food Nation. Just like with Lobster Liberation, I tried to look it up and I never saw anything about an ending. The game over screen says, in a world of fast food, everyone loses. I try to stay away from fast food myself, but that's mostly for health reasons. But at the end of the day, I'm not against going to fast food. There's this thing called moderation that both sides should be able to have. And this just isn't going to convince anyone of anything. I promise I'll move on to the next game now, which is J-Lo Monster in Fur game. Yes, this is obvious Photoshop. There is no picture I found of her wearing a coat made of puppies. I haven't even started the game yet and we already have blatant manipulation on the list. You start by customizing your character. I tried to make mine look as much like me as possible. You then get a page of text explaining the game. Basically, you're an animal activist and you go around freeing animals and educating people by pressing space. At the same time, you're trying to avoid J-Lo, who is constantly chasing you down. If you make her run into a reporter, she'll forget about you for a few seconds. I don't know why they gave her that big of a dumpy. It seems to me like they're complimenting her here for some reason. Lord forgive me for what I'm about to do. This game isn't even close to a challenge. The hardest part is playing with one hand. The hardest part is when you hit a corner and this happens. By the way, you can easily beat the game without ever bringing J-Lo to a reporter. I think they really only included this to roast her, saying that she loves the attention. There's only 3 levels, and when you beat the game, it just brings you to the screen. Okay, so I don't know much about J-Lo at all, so I don't know how much of this hate is really warranted, but I have to hand it to them in some regard. They actually did a good job about teaching you about animals in between levels in an actually normal way. You just have to sit through this to learn about it, so I'm not sure this had the impact that they were hoping for. Alright, let's talk about the last game I can actually play, Cage Fight. I wish this was one of the games that I couldn't play. You start by selecting who you want to play as from one of these 3 MMA fighters. I looked up all of their names and I couldn't find any connection to PETA outside of the fact that they're all vegetarian, but to be fair, I didn't dive too deep into this. You're then met with the hottest babe I have ever seen. Lord forgive me. She congratulates you for winning the 4th annual Fights for Animals charity MMA match, which is annually held at River City University. Based off that, I'm gonna guess that this is a River City ransom parody. You then take a tour of the university, and in the science lab you see cruelty to animals in progress. I'm glad they had to put that there because I would have no idea otherwise. You then exchange some high quality dialogue and the game starts. It does turn out to be a River City ransom parody, but it controls terribly. Okay, to start, I really don't like beat 'em ups for the most part, and this is the worst one I have ever played. I couldn't seem to consistently line myself up with enemies, so I ended up giving up pretty quickly. Okay, I know I gave up on a couple PETA games pretty quickly today, but I'm just gonna say it, I have played so much trash in the past month. This is my breaking point. I am done putting up with this. But I was able to find some footage online. When you beat the level, it tells you that you saved one cat from decapitation, and 1 dog from being blinded. Just a regular Tuesday night for me. You get an interview as a reward, and since literally every other PETA game that links you with a video has animal abuse in it, I'm assuming it's the same here. The next level, you're fighting the military that is for some reason in this university. There's more stellar dialogue for you, and then the gameplay seems to be mostly the same. You beat the level, you save more animals, I guess, and then you unlock a wallpaper. You're now in a lab. Here there's more bad dialogue and more of the same gameplay. You then just kind of get teleported into a boxing octagon for no explained reason. There's not even a boss or anything here, just more regular enemies. You're then teleported to a beach with a bunch of animals that probably should not be unchained together. The cheerleader from the start is back. You get a video that I am definitely not watching, and then that's it. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the racist PETA game. Pirates of the Carib, which is an obvious parody of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm not sure what they did wrong, but I don't care enough to find out. Nugget is the main character, who you may remember as one of the Chick Sisters. The plot is that they found out that nuggets were made from chickens. I can't believe Nugget didn't know what his own name meant. So naturally, they learned about the magical golden tofu, which will turn anyone who tastes it into a vegetarian. So they set out to find it. The game starts with a cutscene where the characters all talk about how they want to find the tofu. They then ask these pirates who are sitting right next to them for help finding the tofu. You then get to choose your pirate. Soon after you pick this guy, there's a random PSA about software piracy that's done so poorly.
Software piracy is a real crime that affects real people and costs real jobs.
The elephant then essentially has an existential crisis, so you can't go on.
How can we go on now that we know there's such evil in the world?
I guess we chose the wrong pirate, so we'll try again. When you choose this guy, the city is shut down because these things are attacking. I have no idea what this represents. Just to go off the theme of piracy, which I just assumed was supposed to be a pun, I'm guessing these are viruses, but I don't understand the pirate connection here. You then pick the correct pirate and set out to sea. While sailing, the pirate gives a disturbing explanation on animal abuse that goes on when chickens are killed for food. I'm sure no kids were scarred from that. The monkey then mansplains what the pirate literally just said to Nugget, but the Nugget, being the girl boss that she is, interrupts and basically says, "I'm not an idiot, I literally just heard what the pirate said." You then arrive at 3 islands and you have to choose which island to sail to. If you choose Snake City, your ship gets overrun with snakes and Michael Jackson? You really can't make this garbage up.
Get these gosh darn snakes off this gosh darn boat. Sorry, Samuel Jackson was booked.
If you pick Badger Island, your ship gets overrun with badgers who start singing the Badger song. I know this game was probably made a while ago, but this is a very topical reference. So the elephant and monkey just kill themselves? So now you're left with Cannibal Cove as the correct island. On this island, it looks like KFC workers are about to cook some chicks. They legit ignore what they saw and follow a map to the treasure. Great message you're sending, PETA. You then get to the destination and you have to pick a cave to enter. Your choices are Justin Timberlake, Jack Bauer, or Tofu Manchu. If you pick Jack, he just threatens you with, I assume, a line from something he's been in. Justin Timberlake makes a dick in box joke, so now you're left with the racist Tofu Manchu.
Tofu Manchu say, "You have chosen wisely. Share this golden tofu with the world."
So he gives the tofu to the animals, and then there's a cutscene of all the characters eating vegetables, all because of the golden tofu. All characters aside from the KFC workers, that is, who I assume killed and ate those chicks. There was a perfect opportunity for the characters to come in, give the KFC workers the golden tofu, and save all the chicks. They easily could have had a happy ending, but they just decided not to. This is the end screen, and finally, PETA can check racism off of the problematic things that they have done.